Hi, students. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Same. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across so many beautiful videos from Black content creators and also people that are not Black people. But trust me, all these videos are really very important, and I thought I shared them with us. Why? Because and also share it with them because I know some of them are here there watching the videos and not dropping anything. Right? The reality is that I hope you all sit down sometime and reflect on some certain things you all do to people that look like me and how you all have made their lives so hard and still trying as much as you can to make it harder because sometimes you all feel like it is your world and you all are supposed to be the ones enjoying every good things of life, but that is a lie. My people deserve everything beautiful, and so far I love how hard they are standing, how tall they are standing, and how great they. I am so proud of you people of how far you have come, and I am really looking forward to where you all are going to. Now, I am going to say this for all those people that do not think that we matter, because when we say Black Lives Matters to some people, it is like one of those folk stories. But we are everything about us matters, right? Because all you want to do is oppress people that look like me. But no, we are not threatened because we already understand how you people operate and how you all work. You all are always looking for a way to make things not easier for my people. Let's get into this.
People are colonizers. Yes, we are. I got to be honest about it. We really are. And I know white people right now are saying, I'm not a colonizer. Oh, you hurt my feelings. Well, you are, and probably in your mindset, in your ideology, you probably do have the mentality of a colonizer because most white people do, and I'll tell you why. 500 years ago, our colonizing culture, white European culture, was born, and we set out to steal things, resources, and that were not ours. We colonized, we enslaved all over the world. We enslaved Africans. We tried to dehumanize them and tell them, manipulate them, and gaslight them by telling them that they are not equal to us, that they are as an animal, and that the only real human are white people. Oh, I don't see color. Oh, it's a black man's fault that he's in the position. Well, what about black on black crime? I mean, it goes on and on and on. I could sit here all day and give you examples. All lives matter. It just goes on all day. Black people ask for justice. White people find a way to try to obscure it, to try to take away from it, to try to demean it. We are colonizers. And I say that based on our behavior, collectively as white people. And until we stop being gaslighters and colonizers, white people are on a path of self-destruction. White supremacy, the lies of white supremacy, the colonizing mentality has never brought the white man happiness, and it never will. It's toxic, dysfunctional, and self-defeating. And it's not helping us. And now there's all this white rage, because when the abuser loses control, he gets angry. And then Trump was born because we had a black president. And he was perfect because he was racist. And that's what white America wanted, because they're angry, because they felt like they were losing control. These colonizers have to have control. And we had a black president. And everybody just shit all over themselves. White people just freak the fuck out. Oh my God, we're losing control. We have a black president. He's going to oppress us and enslave us. God knows we're going to be whipped and lynched. This is literally, I think, some of the thoughts, the subconscious. I'm exaggerating, but in a way it's true. The greatest fear of the colonizer is all that evil, vile shit that we did will be done up unto them, us. And that's why there's so much white rage. The numbers are changing. Pretty soon, white people will not be the majority. The abuser loses control. So what do? We continue gaslighting. We continue with white rage. White domestic terrorism on the rise. The greatest threat in America. White people are enraged because they can no longer control their victims, black and brown people, the way that they want to. They're losing some of their power, some of their positions, some of their privilege. They feel threatened. So here we are, in a state of crazy, utter chaos. That's why I say the lies of white supremacy is our destruction.
Joe Biden's running for a second term. I know. He's old, but he's better than Trump. I'll be voting for him. Yeah, me too. Wish we had a better option, though. Yeah, well, at least it's not Trump. We gotta pick the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I guess so. A few months later. Oh my God. Joe Biden stepped down, and now Vice President Kamala Harris is running for office. I don't know why you're excited, Nick. Kamala Harris is pro-Israel. She's a genocidal maniac. We're going to call her Genocide Harris. Wait a minute. Vice President Harris hasn't changed any policies or thought processes than Biden when it comes to Israel and Palestine. She would be way better for black people. She has a history of trying to make law enforcement and just the judicial system more transparent. Trump wants to take away those things and give police more immunity to kill us black people. Like, we're literally going through a slow genocide here as African Americans. I thought that y'all understood that. That's why y'all said we're brothers and sisters. The only real difference is that she's black. Well, now you want to make this a race thing. After we stood up for you during Black Lives Matter, you're going to vote for Genocide Harris? What the fuck are you talking about? Trump is literally going to do way worse in Palestine. You know that, don't you? Oh, I didn't say I was voting for Trump. I just said I wasn't voting for Kamala. Then who are you voting for? I didn't say Trump. And what about us here? As black people, we're going to be affected if Trump wins. Y'all will be affected too, but like, we're going through our own genocide. Don't you care? Like, we even promoted your movement during our movement, which was overshadowed by your movement and everybody else's. Let me just be honest. I'm not voting for it.
Y'all are so blinded by hate. Let me tell you how racism is going to keep the middle class stuck. America has a long, ugly history of people hating black and brown folks, so much so that they're willing to vote against their own survival just to keep their own racist ideologies alive. Time and time again, working class white Americans have been tricked into supporting policies that make them poorer, sicker, and more desperate, all because those in power tell them that they're going to punish black people and immigrants and other marginalized groups. Donald Trump's tax plan is the latest proof of this self-destructive cycle. His policies will hurt 95% of Americans, especially working class white Americans who make up a large percentage of his base, but yet they will still support him. Why? Because his campaign fuels their hate, distracting them from the fact that they too are being robbed. They are so determined to see black people struggle, so obsessed with upholding white supremacy that they will literally vote to make themselves poor if it means keeping the lie alive. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich, who don't care about race at all, just about staying rich and in power, laugh as they continue to collect wealth off the backs of struggling Americans. Trump's tax plan is not just about economics. It's a weapon of mass distraction, designed to use racism as a smokescreen while the rich steal from the poor. This isn't anything new. It's the same trick used throughout history. From the days of slavery, when rich plantation owners convinced poor whites to fight for a system that oppressed them too, to Jim Crow laws, to today's voter suppression and economic exploitation. The question I have is, when will people wake up? How much suffering will it take for them to see that the real enemy isn't black and brown people? It's the billionaires and the politicians robbing them blind while feeding them lies. This is the truth that racists don't want to admit. The very policies they think will hurt black and brown folks will hurt them first. And when they find out that they've been used as pawns in a game that's designed to keep them struggling, it may be too late.
I'm going to step on a bunch of people's feet when I say this. You are not being discriminated against just because you are not centered in the story. I need people to marinate in that, sit with that. You are not being oppressed by other people talking about various histories or focusing on various literature. None of those things are directly harmful to you. The way some folks will literally try to spin it as if talking about, let's take an example, if talking about Black history is harmful to them somehow. They never prove it. They never have any tangible examples of the actual harm of discussing Black history. It's all based upon people's feelings, which if we're basing things upon people's feelings, there's a whole group of Black people who would love to talk about our feelings about things. Our feelings are never considered in these conversations. But the idea that it is oppressive to certain groups of folks to learn Black history is wild. That is somehow harmful and detrimental to these folks to learn actual history, things that have actually happened, as opposed to those things that actually happened, is wild. It shows me that y'all have never truly been oppressed because of your color of your skin. Like, y'all have never experienced that. When I'm having these discussions here on this forum and folks come on and they leave their comments, when I ask them for examples of how this is oppressive to them, you know what some of those comments are? Black history section at the bookstore. Netflix having a whole Black section. The Black hair care aisle. Do y'all see how that's like wild? That other people simply existing, simply talking about existing, or in the case of the hair care aisle, simply caring for our bodies is somehow oppressive to folks who are so used to being centered that they lose their marbles when they hear or learn or are confronted with the idea that other people exist in this world and may want a little scalp moisturizer or may want to read a book that talks about our experiences, or may want to watch a love story that features Black love. That's the worst you gotta deal with? The idea that other people simply exist? That's the worst you have to deal with? Also, let me say this, because y'all think that everything Black people do is cool without giving Black people credit for it. Oppression is not fun. Being oppressed is not cute. Being harmed in so many different ways just because of the people that you come from is literally not fun. And I don't know why so many people want to be oppressed. I mean, outside of the fact that y'all think that everything Black people do is cool. I mean, a bunch of y'all walk around with do-rags right now trying to get waves. And I'm like, baby, you enjoy those cornfield looking locks. Like, that's fine. Baby, y'all don't even know what this stuff is for. A bunch of y'all were throwing oil in your hair and like y'all didn't know what that stuff was for. Like, it's weird. It's strange. It's odd. It's getting strange. It's okay if you're not centered in the story. It's okay. Other people exist. Other people could tell their perspectives. Other people matter too. Like, wasn't that y'all big thing that all lives matter? Isn't this a prime example of that? Breathe. It's okay. Other people exist. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
I still, for the life of me, will never ever understand how anyone believed that Donald Trump winning would be a better option or a better choice than Kamala Harris winning, or that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump would be exactly the same. Now, I'm one of those that understand, as a Democratic voter, how weak the messaging apparatus truly is. They're not the most clear on how they're different from Republicans on a multitude of different issues, Palestine being one. Now, with Kamala Harris, she was crystal clear on how she differed from Donald Trump on a lot of different issues, to include Palestine. But I think the Democratic Party as a whole did a lot of damage to Kamala and her chances in 2024 because they weren't clear. And I know for a lot of people in the Democratic Party, we give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt and believe that because these are adults, that they can find information on their own. I don't personally believe that. I have always believed that the overwhelming majority of voters in this country are illiterate when it comes to politics. So they're not going to know where to look, what to look for. And if they do start looking, they might start looking for confirmation bias of things that they already believe. So if they believe that there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, the confirmation bias that they're going to look for is how the Democrats and the Republicans are similar on these issues. So it is incumbent upon the Democratic Party establishment to work on their messaging apparatus. Even if the Democratic voters are basically saying that they're not going to participate in protests, you won't be seeing them at these town halls, that they're going to be sitting out for the next 4 years, specifically the 92%. The politicians still have work to do. They still have to show that they are willing to fight. And for a lot of these Democratic politicians, they are not trying to meet the moment. They're not trying to meet the moment. A lot of these older Democrats are not trying to give up power to the younger generation. There's absolutely no reason why AOC and Jasmine Crockett shouldn't be front and center in the Democratic Party, because they are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And a lot of these older Democrats are trying to engage in respectability politics with a party, a large portion of the country that doesn't give a fuck about respect. Even the current sitting president of the United States, that is literally trying to undermine the Constitution. We are so beyond respectability politics. In the next couple of years, the Democrats have to work on their messaging apparatus. They have to break it down, Barney style, in a way that the dumbest voter in this country can understand. And I'm going to stress, the dumbest voters in this country can understand. I know that the Democrats are still trying to hold on to this PC messaging, but at this current juncture, we have to be comfortable calling people exactly what they are. Because if you fell for a Trump scam again, you are dumb. A lot of these Trump voters are losing their jobs, losing their benefits. Their families are being deported. They are literally watching their families being genocided because this man basically says he wants to turn Gaza into a resort town. So they need to understand just how dumb it was to vote for this man. You're not smart voting for a man that's literally telling you that he's going to harm you. You are dumb. And that's what the Democratic Party has to start with. That we have a bunch of dumb voters in this country. And when you start at that honest point, then you can actually start doing your messaging that becomes more effective. And you can sell the populist platform that benefits a lot of these voters, even the dumb ones.
You know, Republican voters love to say, Donald Trump is your president. Why can't you accept it? Donald Trump is your president. You need to get over it. But I hope you guys know that for most of us, we have accepted it. We understand he is the president. Some of us think the way he became president is a little shaky. Probably needs to have some extra eyes look into that. But at the end of the day, we know he's in the Oval Office. The problem is, it does not stop there, okay? It's never supposed to stop there. See, when you guys vote, and your leadership understands this, your representatives understand this, when you guys vote, you think voting that person in means you send them to Washington, and then they wave a magic wand, and they fix all your problems. You think, I voted for Donald Trump, he won. Now, just by him being there, everything that I was concerned with before he became president is going to change. What do I have to follow up with him about? He's there, he's gonna do it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not Hogwarts, okay? This is not the Ministry of Magic. He's not showing up there and saying a spell or two, and you have lower grocery prices. You have more affordable health care. You have all the things that are currently making your life more difficult fixed. No, those changes take actual work, okay? They take negotiation. They take litigation. They take all of the pressure that comes from the people in order for our congressmen, our senators, and the president himself to act in our best interests, not in their own. It's funny you guys say you don't like socialism, but you seem to love the idea of the government taking care of all your problems once you get the people in there that you like. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that is not our reality, okay? We absolutely need to keep questioning what these people do every single day. The pressure people have been putting on these senators, the pressure people have been putting on this congressman is why they are telling the muskrat that he can no longer act with unilateral power. I bet you if we weren't constantly asking, what does he do? Why is he doing it? How does he have the power to do it? Isn't this constitutional or unconstitutional? I bet you if those lawsuits weren't getting filed and those judges weren't looking into these cases because of the people constantly asking questions, we would not have seen any change on that matter. This is why the American people cannot just accept that he's president, go home, and not ask questions. That's how we got here to begin with. So instead of focusing on all of us complaining, I'm telling you right now, you guys need to be complaining a lot more.
It's obvious that many of you do not understand what restorative justice is. Restorative justice is compassion. Restorative justice is compassion for the victim first, for community, and it is also compassion for the offender. Restorative justice gives the victims an opportunity to be heard by community, by the offender. It gives victims the opportunity to say, this is what happened to me, this is what you did to me, and this is how it affected my life. Restorative justice gives victims a feeling of safety amongst the masses. It lets them know they are not alone. It validates the harm that has been caused to the victims and reminds victims that they have an entire community that loves and cares for them. Restorative justice is compassion for community because it brings community in to be witnesses, not mediators, but witnesses to a process in which our community restores order and brings the fold back together. Restorative justice is compassion for the community because it shows community that there is accountability here for each and every one of us, whichever side of accountability we stand on, whether we are being held accountable or the offender is being held accountable for the crimes they have committed against us. Restorative justice is compassion for the offender because what is the alternative? Lock them up and throw away the fucking key? Just discard them like they're trash? No. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to hear what they've done wrong and come up with a plan with community to not reoffend anyone in community. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to right their wrongs and come back home, to not be ostracized, to not be left without a people. And unfortunately, we don't practice restorative justice in our community. We fall back on the white man's idea of justice for Black lives, and that is just fucking punitive. In order for restorative justice to happen, Shaheem has got to be willing to come to the table. And these victims of Shaheem's have tried many times to communicate with Shaheem, but Shaheem does not value the lives of their victims. What Shaheem does is offends and then blocks, like the victims never even existed and certainly do not matter. And after Shaheem blocks their victims, then his flying fucking monkeys swarm their victims and makes the situation that much worse. Our community deserves better than that. And none of us are above accountability. I'm not trying to throw Shaheem away, but Shaheem has resisted the call-in one after another, and this has gotten bigger and bigger because the body count of victims continues to grow. And this community has to put a stop to it because Shaheem has a type, and I happen to be Shaheem's type of victim. And if I don't stop it from happening to someone else, I could be next. You could be next. And that fear right there is what destabilizes and disconnects our community. Restorative justice is in order, so we can protect, care for, and clean our own communities without outside interference. And if you have a problem with people being doxxed, so do I. That's one of the things that we need to be talking to Shaheem about. If you have a problem with people calling Shaheem's job, Shaheem is a fucking therapist. And there is a level of accountability in that profession to do no harm. And you should also consider if Shaheem had respected their victims enough to actually sit down at the table and discuss the harm that they have caused in community, those victims would not now be seeking other alternatives for justice. Restorative justice is in order, and you've not seen it practiced very often, but that doesn't mean that this isn't it. That doesn't mean that this isn't it. You just don't like it because Shaheem is your problematic fucking fave.
So this is all I got from this video, and I don't know how much I can cover, but let me start with oppression, right? Now I am going to say this because, like, it's really been a hard time for my people, and I don't know if it's getting any better, but the best we can do as Black people is to better ourselves, because if you look around, you do not have anybody standing with you. And what are you going to do? What you can do is pick yourself up. Let's pick our community up and start the fight. It starts with you, it starts with me, right? Nobody, nobody will make it easier for us, because you all can see what is going on and what they've been doing, what they have done so far. Nobody wants to make it easier for you. And what are we going to do? We are going to try as much as we can to make life easier for ourselves. Self-love first, right? Now, I am going to elaborate on what the other sister with braids said. Sometimes it is not all about you. Because one thing I have noticed so far when it comes to Black history is that everybody wants to be the center of attraction in Black people's business when it is not all about them. Sometimes I want you all to sit back, not my people, I mean you people. I want you people to sit back and think about what it means to be oppressed, what it means to be treated differently in every area, what it means to be different, because you all do not see us as the same as you. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because if you check around, starting from medicals, you will absolutely understand what I am saying. Because if you all could come up with something like, they do not feel much pain, So there is no need giving them painkillers or giving them like something maybe to subside their pains. Why? Because you all think we do not feel pain as much as you do. How did you people come about that? Because when you look around, when you see how they treat us, you also will understand that that is 100% accurate how they think about us, how they think about Black people. Now, let me say this, right? Black people feel pains. I don't know who told you that. We feel pains. Sometimes we want to be left alone. Sometimes we might want to talk to you, but in a situation whereby we do not want you around, can you please keep moving forward? And can you people sometimes sit down and reflect on the pains you all may have caused people that look like me? Why? Because it is always better for you people to think that as long as it is not getting to us, let them continue to, suffer. For how many years, from slavery till this very moment, Black people have been going through it. And I do not see you people come out as the majority you all said you are, right? I do not, and the way you all come out to say, I will always be there for you. And the way you all say, I want to be your ally, right? I do not see you people come out to do something different, to try something different for these people that you've been saying that they are hurting. Why I notice full time, or why I concord full time that these people will never care, is the fact that our Black people were all out in their business. Like, Black people went all out to educate everybody, to make everybody understand what is going to happen if this man becomes the leader tomorrow. You all said, yeah, that you all are also working towards with us to make sure that everything is okay. And in the end, you guys were not working. What happened? Is that how much you all do not want anything good to come up from my community? Because if you all wish us well, you all will always look for a way to bridge some gaps. But no, I don't see anybody bridging any gap. That is one of the reasons why I keep telling my people, when I say we all have to double that hustle. At some point, they said it was the grocery, right? Now, tell me, if you could not afford a gallon of milk during Joe Biden's tenure, you see now that maybe a gallon of milk is maybe $6, $7. Maybe when it comes to $6, $7 that you can afford it. That is to tell you how unintelligent some people are politically. I really do not know how to explain this so some people will understand. But you all can sometimes, there is what we call empathy, or self-reflection. You all can do it and call yourselves to order, because you all have been out of order way from the beginning to this very moment. Tell me how some people have always been there for you people, but not even for a day. Like, not even for a day do I see you people come out genuinely. And the best you all could come up with was blue bracelet and pink bracelet to let you all know that I am standing with you. Standing with me with mouth, or standing with me with eyes. We want to see actions. We want to see you people do something. But no, you all cannot do anything. Why? Because you all love it. Because if you did not like it, I would have seen a lot of you people out saying something, trying to make changes. But no, you still want us to hit the street for you, because we have been the ones suffering. And that is what we are meant to keep doing. Save everybody, but not saving ourselves. We are going to choose ourselves. We are going to put yourself first. And I do not ever want to hear that somebody's out there hitting any road or trying to defend anybody. Let them defend themselves. Let us defend ourselves. The state has been shared. Let's continue like that. Not until everybody decide that we are going to come back together and look for a way to sort out the problems. It was okay if Joe Biden was going to come out for second term, right? But it is not okay for Kamala Harris to come out as a president. That is to tell you how some people are hypocrites. When I say hypocrite, this is also part of the reason why they want to preserve race. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.